Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Secret, and today we will be talking about infant baby sleep, gentle approaches to that, and what I've done, why I've done what I've done, future changes that I want to make within all that baby sleep stuff. I mean, technically, I think Charlie's considered a toddler now because he's, oh my gosh. I just realized a few days ago he turned 16 months, so yeah, I think he's a toddler because he's running around and there is a lot of baby qualities to him that he still has, but he does seem like half baby, half toddler still. I did film this video a while ago. I don't know if any of you have watched my previous videos. I explained that I've filmed a video about this on my old camera that I got, and it wasn't really good quality and I wasn't confident in it, and I've deleted that since, but I never posted that. I also feel like that video was kind of more like I was trying to like give the information to as an expert, and I'm not an expert. Like, I was reading out all my notes that I had from when I took this course myself. The course that I took is, I think it's called Foundations for Infant Sleep, and Taylor Kulik, she's a infant sleep consultant. She created the course, and I love everything she shares and all the content she puts out on Instagram, and I mean, that's where I see it all. So, but I did take her actual course as well. In the video I made before, I was just kind of like reading off all this information and just trying to share it all. But then I realized I feel like I should share information, but also just more of my experience as well, and my thoughts and feelings and stuff. And then if you want even more information, you can just go to the expert herself. Go on her Instagram or take the course yourself. So I have some notes to help me out. My sleep journey with Charlie thus far, since because you know, when he was probably starting around 3 months, I'll start there, because the first few months after they're born, they just kind of sleep all the time. There's not much, you know, yeah, you do have to wake up in the night, but it's not like, you don't really have to help them to sleep, or there's not much to do with that. So at least that was the case with me, and I think most babies, because they just, I think around 3 or 4 months is when they, like, this part in their brain develops more, and they're more aware of their surroundings, so it's harder to get them to sleep. Yeah, I'll start around 3 months. I actually did try sleep training a little bit, because before he was born, I was just like, I knew how I functioned on lack of sleep, and I just, from what people were saying, I was just like, oh my gosh, how am I even gonna function? Like, how am I gonna take care of this baby? Like, people are saying I'm just gonna be a zombie almost. So I was like, I need to know like what to do, which is definitely not a bad approach to take, but I think I was like, you know, I just thought, okay, if I have this head knowledge, then I'll be set, and it wasn't really the case. Some things helped, but I'll get into that. Around 3 months, I think, he began to be like harder to put down to sleep, and I would have to like figure out, okay, he's not gonna just fall asleep. What can I do to help him fall asleep? And I did learn that different babies they have different sensory inputs, and they need different things to fall asleep. Some babies might need to be bounced, and that'll help one baby, and then another baby, that won't be the sensory that they feel soothed by, and they might just need like white noise or like humming or something. Maybe some are put to sleep more easily with both, like a combination. And so I basically had to learn what Charlie needed to be put to sleep, and I tried a lot of different things. There was a period of time where I was very stressed out with that. I didn't have like postpartum depression or anything, but I think that may have caused just like postpartum anxiety and stuff. But it would just be around those times when like, oh, it's time to put him to sleep. But once I found what worked, it was a lot easier. Not super easy, but a lot easier. Yeah, I won't go into everything I tried, but I mean, one of the things I was like walking him up and down the stairs. We don't have AC in our house. We have like 2 air conditioning units, but they're not near the stairs, and so I was just sweating. Like it was a workout. So I mean, that was a good part. It definitely was a workout, but I was just walking up and down the stairs like constantly, and in like younger babies take, I don't even remember how many naps a day. So like I was doing that very frequently because he would need so many naps in the day. One thing that did help me that was kind of in some sleep training books or whatever that I had read, there's at certain times, like for depending on the age of the baby, there's like certain amount of times that they can usually be awake. Like, if they're a month old, they can be awake for like an hour, and then they'll get tired again. But yeah, so that there was like a little chart, and that actually was very helpful for me because it was very accurate, and I could also kind of like track his sleepy cues, or not track them, but observe his sleepy cues, and then see like, oh, it says it has been an hour and a half, and this chart says that usually babies will need to be put to sleep around this time. So I was like, yeah, it must be time to put him to sleep. So that part was helpful from what I read in those sleep training books. But anyways, I think, yeah, before I started trying to like find all these other ways to put him to sleep, we did try and sleep train him one time, and it was at night, and we just put him in the room, and like from what I read, I think it said just wait like 5 minutes of him crying, and then go in and like comfort him, and then leave for like 10 minutes, and then comfort him, and then wait for 15 minutes, and so on, like up to like an hour. We didn't wait an hour, but the book said something like that, like, just wait longer and longer to go comfort him. And I think we were able to wait like 10 minutes at the most, and then we were like, okay, we cannot do this. He is so stressed out. I don't want him to feel like I abandoned him. And so then after that, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do to get him to sleep, but I can't do this. This does not seem healthy or right. Then after that is when I kind of just tried to put him to sleep other ways, like the stairs and other stuff. But then somewhat soon after that, I don't remember exactly how long, but it just seemed like such a blessing. I found Taylor Kulik's Instagram, and then soon took the course, and I remember just like crying when I started the course, because there's just different topics, and for each topic she has like a few different videos, and I just remember crying because it just resonated so much with me, and like she was actually offering help and like strategies and different things you can implement to support your baby to sleep without leaving them in a room alone to cry. And I was like, wow, like I have options, you know. From there, I kind of, like I said, was experimenting with different, like what helps him fall asleep, what sensory inputs does he need, what is he soothed by. And so eventually I kind of found out like, okay, I just need to like hold him and like rock him and sway him and breastfeed him at the same time. And then he would fall asleep pretty quickly. Some nights it would take a little longer to put him to sleep, but usually it would only take like 15 minutes to get him to sleep. And so sometimes 10 minutes, you know, it was a little different depending on, I guess, how tired he got from the day, or if he was going through a developmental leap or something, or teething. Now he's 16 months, and so he just goes to sleep. Like I just breastfeed him. I don't like have to rock him around or anything. Actually, like recently for naps, I just have been taking him upstairs and he falls asleep like as I'm like walking up the stairs or like walking down the hallway. He basically falls asleep just on my shoulder. And then I just like lay with him, let him kind of like comfort nurse to sleep, and then I leave. So it's definitely a lot easier as he's gotten older. And what I've learned also from the course is that you can make, if something's not working for you anymore, you can gradually make changes and like implement other sleep associations. So he was getting pretty heavy for me to just always be like carrying around like this, and like sometimes I still do that, but for the most part he is getting heavy for me to be always doing that. Instead of like swaying him and rocking him, I would, you know, just lay down and nurse and then pat his back, or sorry, not his back, pat his butt, and shush him. And so over time he like started to just associate that with that it's time to sleep. And so he started going to sleep easier with just those things. It doesn't take too long for him to fall asleep. And right now he does sleep in our bed. He started sleeping in our bed actually, I think around 4 months. He was sleeping in a bassinet before, but it was like, we didn't have a stand for it. So it was just like this Moses basket that was laying on the floor, and it was really hard to like reach over the bed and like, you know, grab him up, because our bed is like a little higher, not super high, but I mean the Moses basket was like literally on the ground, so it was not like very comfortable. Then I got actually a DockATot, and that's what we used for him to sleep in our bed until he grew out of it around like 7 months or something, I think, maybe sooner. And I mean, he fit into it, I think, until he was like 8 or so months, but it was not comfortable enough for him to sleep in. At around like, once he hit like 6 months or 7 months. Yeah, we just put that in the middle of us in our bed, and he would sleep in that. It just gave me a little more peace that he was in like something separate with like bumpers, like sides on it, and because he was smaller. Maybe around that time is when I started finishing the course, and so I was still going through like the information she had about bed sharing. And on her Instagram she has a highlight all about bed sharing and how to do it safely and everything as well. But yeah, once he got bigger and like I knew he could roll over easily, and I learned that like mothers who breastfeed, they don't sleep the same way non-breastfeeding mothers sleep. Like they sleep in a much lighter sleep, and they're much more aware if their baby moves or where their baby is. So not likely at all that they're gonna roll onto their baby or anything. Yeah, he still sleeps in their bed. I need a drink. He still sleeps in our bed, and it's really helped me to get enough sleep because he's right there. If he's hungry, I can just wake up and feed him and basically fall asleep while I'm feeding him. It also just brings in another way to connect to him and feel close to him and form like a close attachment with him. I think pretty soon we'll be switching him into his own little toddler bed in his own room, I think. And so there actually is a toddler sleep foundations course that Taylor Kulik has that I'm going to take. There's a section of the course talking about like transitioning to their own bed, and then how to do that well and efficiently, but also like gently, and keeping a secure attachment in mind with, the mother or the parent and the child. That's gonna be very helpful. I'm excited for that because although I do like sleeping with him, especially if I'm gonna have another baby, I need to prepare for a different baby sleeping with me, and it'll be too much to have two kids sleeping in the same bed, at least for us. This one YouTuber I follow was sharing that she called it sleep training, but I wouldn't say that it's sleep training. I think she just didn't know what else to call it. But her daughter, I think, is a little older than Charlie. Oh no, yeah, she's 2. But she just had a baby, and so I think after their baby was born, or they started to want to like make a transition in how they get her to sleep, and getting her to sleep, I guess just getting her to sleep on her own, because I think, yeah, she had night weaned her daughter much earlier, and that's another thing. I started night weaning like a few months ago, and it was pretty good at first, but then I think Charlie started teething a lot, and so then it got a little bit harder. So what I mean by night weaning is just like when he wakes up, I wouldn't just nurse him. I would like try and help him back to sleep another way, just kind of rocking him and stuff. And that, like I said, helped a lot. Like it went pretty well at first. But then the teething, and then we had just so many like events and stuff happening. We went on that big trip, and I just didn't want to try and do the night weaning until all of this stuff was over. So actually, I think tonight will be the first night that I night wean again. And supposedly, from what I've read and watched, once you do that consistently, and it's different for every baby, but like I think this girl, when she did night weaning for her daughter, when she was his age, it only took a week for like when she would wake up in the night, she wouldn't cry or fuss and like want a nurse. She would just know, okay, I just go back to sleep, or like she would be okay with them just rocking her back to sleep, and I think she would not wake up as frequently. So that's the goal. That's what I'm gonna do first before I try and transition him into his own bed. But yeah, the video that this girl now just posted, and her daughter's now 2. Sorry guys and gals, probably just gals, but I tell stories in such a scatterbrained way. Like, I'm fast forwarding, backtracking, I'm all over the place. Sorry. She was saying that her daughter would be laying in her own bed and they would be like laying with her. The next night they would sit in the middle of the room just while she was laying in her bed, and then the next night they would sit outside the door, but like I think the door was open, but they would just be like sitting outside the door, but they would like respond to her and stuff. They wouldn't just let her cry, but they were just kind of like showing like gradually they're moving out of the room. And so I think that's something I want to look more into. Maybe in the toddler course I'm going to take, she'll say something similar to that. But first I have to go through the night weaning. So that'll come later. Yeah, so I just wanted to touch on some key points of like why I've done things the way I've done it, and like why I don't really support sleep training. I know that's very controversial, and I'm not like judging mothers or saying like they're bad or like less than or anything. I'm just saying I don't think that it's the best way to go about things, and there's a lot of reasons why. I'll share a few, but you kind of just have to do your own research. Maybe, like I said, look at Taylor Kulik's Instagram, her highlights, take her course. There's lots of other gentle sleep consultants and whatever other titles they have out there. She's just the one that I like the most. The first note that I took when I was taking the course is that, I wrote, "We are one of the only cultures that don't sleep with our babies, and that try and train/force our babies to fit our schedule of constant busy lifestyle. There are good biological reasons why our children want to be close to us, and why it's good for them to not sleep fully through the night for a while. In the past, and still in other cultures, women in the villages would help care for the child if mama needed a break, or they would live with other family members who would help with daily house tasks. Nowadays, it all falls on the mothers, and that is why we feel the need to sleep train and make them independent in ways that they are not ready to be yet." So yeah, I think that's just very fascinating. Like in ancient cultures and in just other more rural cultures today, that's how they do it. And I think to have that in our modern Western culture, to be able to not sleep train, we just need to have a lot of support. And not only, like, I don't even have a ton of support. I don't have people who can really come and help me all the time. But one thing that Taylor Kulik talks about a lot is just expectations. And that's something, not even just with sleep, but just as a mother, something I've had to wrestle with a lot. Just if your expectations are that your baby needs to be sleeping through the night, and if they're not, something's wrong, or something's wrong with your baby, you're not doing something right. Or like sometimes I'm like, well, I wanted, if he's taking a long time to go to sleep, and I'm not thinking, okay, he's teething, or he's going through a developmental leap, or he just wants more connection with me, or something, like my selfish mind. And it's not selfish to obviously need time alone or a break, but you can, sometimes you just have to accept, like, okay, it's not going to happen right now. It will happen. I will get a break. I will get time to myself, but I can't right now, but it will happen. God will provide time for me to get that. And what I've had to learn, because like I was saying, when sometimes he is taking a long time to go to sleep and I'm like, "Ugh, I'm not gonna be able to have time to like go downstairs and hang out with Matt and watch a show or, you know, do something I wanted to do. Now I'm just gonna have to like fall asleep with him because it's already late, and I just can have that negative cycle and kind of like my expectations were here, and if they aren't met, if I don't get what I want, then I'm not like mean to Charlie, but my like feelings towards him are like negative, or I've had times where I'm like, it would just be so much easier to sleep train. But once you learn how it can possibly negatively affect them mentally and their health, and that you're forfeiting connection and attachment with them, then it kind of helps you to realize like, okay, this is worth it. This is worth just staying here with him and not going down to do what I wanted to do tonight, but I will get to do that another time. Again, I'm not trying to shame anyone, but I'm just being real about what I've like felt myself and what I've learned. And you know, once you learn something, once you hear certain information, you can't really unlearn it. And so I can't be fake and just say, oh, I support every decision, because that's one thing that I don't really like about some like mom YouTubers, is they just kind of say like, whatever you're doing, I support you. You're doing great. I mean, like, it's good to encourage, but like sometimes I could be doing something better, or I could be doing something in a different way that would help me and my child more. Or, you know, I need people to kind of like clash with my own ideas and my own thoughts, and to help me grow and to shape me better. But obviously we do need that like tender, soft, encouraging part as well. It can't just be like rebuke. Attachment, what is that? I think there's a lot of good resources out there to kind of learn more about it. You can also just look up, there's like this YouTube video, maybe I'll try and link it below, but it's like a little like cartoon video on YouTube, like a psychology page made it, and it's all about attachment, importance of attachment styles or whatever. But the basis of it is, the more attached and secure your baby feels, the more they're going to be able to be independent later and feel confident. If they're not attached to you and they're just kind of like, you force them into independence too early, then they can actually react oppositely and like be insecure, cling to out of insecurity. Like, they don't feel like if they need someone to turn to once they are independent, that someone will be there. Taylor Kulik was talking about how babies who are sleep trained, a lot of times they're actually, well, I think there's a study, like they actually don't sleep more than babies who aren't sleep trained. They just don't signal, they don't cry out. They've learned that if they cry out, that they won't be responded to, so they kind of just suppress that. And so yeah, they're not getting more rest than a baby who's not sleep trained. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And also, the more that they're just left alone to cry, like, it's not bad for them to cry, but if they feel like abandoned, like there's literally no one there, then they will feel even more stressed, and their cortisol levels will go up. That's the stress hormone, and that can be very toxic for their body, especially being so small. The more toxic stress, the more impact on their health and development there can be. So, I mean, that adults experience that if we're super stressed. That can flesh out in really negative ways, like we can start to even feel sick because we're so stressed. Also, they're just going through so many developmental changes. I have this app called Wonder Weeks. It tells me every time, because they've studied it so much, like the people who've developed the apps, that there's different developmental leaps that all babies go through, and they like can kind of predict when those leaps are going to happen. And so it's really helpful to know, like, okay, he's being more cranky because he's going through a leap, or he's not sleeping good at night because he's going through a leap. And that can also help with your expectations too, like, okay, my expectations should especially not be high right now because he is developing, he's going through a developmental leap. And sometimes like I think they're going through developments, even if it's not saying, the app isn't saying like he's going through a development, like it could be maybe not like a development that they have listed, but like even just like physical development, they could have like, you know, growing pains or something. Another thing is connection, like your baby wanting connection and to be with you and held is like a valid need. Just because their diapers changed and they're fed doesn't mean that they should be expected to just be on their own. If they feel like they need more physical connection before sleep or in the middle of the night, yeah, they're new to the world, everything's new, they just need that like constant affirmation that their mother or parent is there. And so it's not wrong for them to want that, and that's sometimes hard for me to accept. I'm not saying that's always easy, because sometimes that is how I think. I'm like, okay, why aren't you going to sleep? But I think because sometimes he's just kind of like playing around before sleep, or like climbing on me or something, and I'm like, what are you doing? But I have to remember, like, okay, I think today I was more busy, I couldn't really play with him as much, he just needs more of his love cup filled, you know. Also, I think it's pretty fascinating now to like learn about this. Like, you want your child to have a positive association with sleep. Like, you don't want them to dread bedtime or nap time. And so like I've just heard so many stories of like, oh my gosh, like my 3-year-old will not go to sleep, like they just hate going to sleep, or you know, just like these horror stories. And I think a lot of it, I'm not saying like every time this is the case, but I think a lot of times if they've been sleep trained, they don't have like a positive association with sleep. They're just it's not like soothing or relaxing. But if they are supported gently and with care to sleep, then they're gonna gradually build up more and more positive association with sleep. Lastly, there is, you know, ways to make transitions and changes, and you don't have to, it's not like, oh, because I'm doing things in a more gentle, attachment focused way doesn't mean that I have to do it this way until, you know, my baby starts doing something different. Like if something is way too much for me or something, like you can make changes without sleep training. It's not like, oh, your only option is to sleep train if you want to change something. Just like I said with how I'm gonna night wean, and then I'm gonna gradually have him sleep in his own bed. There's ways to achieve those, and I'll once I actually take the toddler course, I'll probably make a whole video on that too, because even though like baby sleep and toddler sleep are similar in some ways, they're also very different, and like their emotions are different, how they lash out or or react are different, and their needs are different. Yeah, I don't want to live like in fear of the future, of like, how will my baby be independent? Like, will they, if I let them sleep in my bed, then they'll never sleep in their own bed? Or like, if I nurse them through the night, then they'll never know how to go back to sleep without nursing. Like, you just live one day at a time and make changes when you need to make changes, because it's just a lie that if you do things one way, you can never, like, they'll never know how to adapt. Like, no, babies are or kids can adapt. They just need to be supported and encouraged through it, but they can adapt. So yeah, I don't think living in fear of like, how are they ever going to be independent, I don't think that's helpful or something we need to be worrying about. I also have heard that it's easier to make these big changes once they are a little older. Like, if you're trying to make all these big changes when they're like, 5 months old, it's gonna be a lot harder probably. I mean, if you need to, there's lots of different circumstances out there, then it is what it is. But I mean, I guess you do have to consider some things, like babies, even up to a year old or so, some of them still need nutrition, like milk at night. If you're waiting until they're a little older to do some of these things, like, some people put in, like I was saying, like, put in your mind, well, if you wait too late, then they're so hard, they're so used to what they're doing, they're never gonna really learn how to adapt. But from what I've learned and heard, it's actually easier once they get a little older, because they're more like aware of like the changes you're trying to make, and you can communicate with them more, and they can understand more of what's going on. So that's partially why I've waited not so long, but why I've waited longer to make these changes, because he can understand me more, and he doesn't really need the nutrition at night like he did when he was a bit younger. I hope that was helpful. Again, I am not trying to shame any parents of how they're doing things. Like I said, I was researching sleep training. Like, I thought that was the best thing, and I was like, oh yeah, I want to get as much sleep as I can, and I want to make sure they're sleeping through the night. And I wrote all these notes. I had like 2 different sleep training books, and like I said, I tried sleep training once, and I just want to like encourage and inspire other parents to just do their own research, look into things a little more, maybe reconsider how they've been thinking about their child's sleep and all that jazz. I want to add this in. I mean, like I said, because of bed sharing, I do get enough sleep. Like, I pretty much always feel well rested. There was a period of time where I had like insomnia and stuff, and I basically just switched. So it wasn't because of Charlie. Like, there was things in my own life, my own habits, that I had to switch and learn about. And I think the biggest thing was making sure I was eating enough, because I mean, I was eating, I thought, a normal amount, but when I was not taking into account that I'm a breastfeeding mother, so I need to be eating even more. Like, even if I think, because like sometimes I would not be that hungry around dinner time, and so I wouldn't eat, or I would eat barely, I wouldn't eat that much. But then I would like, a few hours later I'm hungry in the night and I'm wide awake, and so I kind of just had to force myself to, it's not like I was like stuffing my mouth and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not hungry at all, I'm gonna barf, but like, I just had to eat more, even if I wasn't like starving, I had to make sure I ate enough and make sure that I was eating lunch even, because like sometimes I wouldn't eat lunch, just like a snack. And so, yeah, that was the biggest thing. But then there were some other little things. So once I got my insomnia out of the way, I sleep totally fine. Like last night, I'm pretty positive Charlie is teething a lot. And so last night, I don't even know how many times he woke up, because like I would just fall right back asleep most times when he would wake up. But he woke up like, I don't know, probably like 7 times, and I feel totally fine. Like that's more than when he was a newborn. And I feel more well rested. So yeah, that's all. So I deleted the ending of the video. It just was all over the place. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope that helped you all, and comment below if you have any thoughts or questions. Check out Taylor Kulik, and I will link, I'll link the course below, and I will link that attachment theory video below. So check those out as well. All right, have a good day. Please like and subscribe.